Welcome back to video 2 of module 1. So video 1 of the module was all around our inner thoughts. Our understanding that our thoughts lead to the way we feel, lead to the way we act and the results that we get. But we also know the way we feel can also change our thoughts and again our actions and our results. Focusing on self-awareness is a skill, and this is a constant challenge. It never goes away. Really understanding about what thoughts am I thinking? Why am I thinking those thoughts? What's got me thinking this way? And if I carry on thinking this way, what actions am I going to take? And more importantly, what's the end consequences? Our brain is a fantastic tool, and it's designed to keep us safe and secure, and really a lot of the time in our comfort zones. So it can over-exaggerate, and we've got to start to realise that we've got to start thinking about our perception of our thoughts, and are they really true? Because when we use our imagination, we can go to the worst case scenario. And that's our brain protecting us from the dangers that we have the perception around us. But things have changed now. We haven't got these great dangers, but we still think that they might happen. So we've got to step back with our self-awareness and really look at it in a different way and look at our perception of things, because we know now that our thoughts can create a certain feeling, and those feelings may be worry, anxiety and fear, but actually the case in question might not be real. So it's all around perception and having that choice to change our thinking, which is so important. And this comes from the foundation of self-awareness. So on this video, it's a look inward again. And this is about, again, starting with ourselves. And the first thing I'm going to introduce you to is first ask. This word ask. We've got to think about the questions that we need to ask ourselves, and we've got to be really truthful. We've got to start first there, is to ask ourselves, what is it that I want to change? What is it maybe that I'm not facing? Because we have to look at facing things first before we can fix them, and ask ourselves truthfully about the things that we need to face before we can start to fix them. Because if we face the things that we don't like to really accept, we can then start to fix it. And a lot of this is around the questions maybe that we don't like to ask ourselves, because it will create a certain feeling. And this wonderful thing called the ego gets in the way. And we ask these questions and we don't really like to know the answers, and we like to hide away from them. So I know with my situation that I wasn't asking the right questions, and I certainly wasn't facing up to things, and I wasn't being truthful with myself. I was blaming the external influences. I was blaming work. I was blaming other people. I was justifying things. I was rationalizing things in my head. And I wasn't really facing the things that I really know, truthfully, that I needed to fix. So this is an inward about looking inward and being absolutely truthful with ourselves. Because once we can face it, we can start to understand it, and we can start to change, and we can start to fix the things that we want to fix, so we can start our progression. One of the key things here is what I call the inner dialogue is so important, or what I call self-talk. And I started to realise on reflection, what I was saying to myself had an immense impact on what I was thinking, which then caused to what I was doing and the actions that I get. And I started to really understand on reflection and taking my own progression journey after I'd hit that adversity, was the words that we use are so important, because words create meaning, and from meaning can create feeling. And looking back now, I was using words like I need to, I have to, I'm not, and I'm never. When it comes to need to and have to, I started to realise it created a feeling, especially towards work, of resentment. And a lot of it was being out of control when I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm never going to be able to complete this work. I'm never going to get on top of things. These words created meaning, and from that meaning created a feeling. And in my own scenario, it was a feeling of worry and stress and anxiety, and this built up over time. And I started to realise that it was my inner dialogue that was having such an impact on the way I was thinking, which then started to impact on the things that I was doing and the results that I get. So I started to change the words. I want to was more empowering. I choose to. I am good enough. I am going to get this completed. And the change of this self-dialogue or this self-talk was instant, in the moment. It was so, so powerful. When these little negative thoughts started to creep in and I started to use these words, oh, I need to do this again, or I have to go on this meeting, or, you know, these kind of things, I started to, with my self-awareness, started to really sort of question and started to change. And with that came an empowering moment of I can actually choose the way I think because of the words that I use in my internal dialogue and my self-talk. So I'd really like you to think about, at the end of this video, what are the words that you use in that instant moment that you may be talking yourself out of things, or maybe thinking certain things that are making you feel a certain way because of the words that you're using. Oh, I have to do this again. Oh, I need to get this done. Maybe a change of a word might empower you. It might bring on a different feeling. So really consider that and maybe adopt some of these words. And it will take time. Like I said, all this is a constant. There's no finish line to this. This goes on forever. It's a process. And the self-awareness is the key to it, is really understanding about what am I thinking, what am I saying to myself, am I empowering myself, am I really taking ownership and responsibility. And the last thing I'd like to introduce you to on this video is I'm a big believer on universal laws. These laws are always in effect and they have an immense amount of meaning to us if we don't really understand them, and they can certainly affect what we do and the results that we get. Laws, so let's take it, law of gravity. We know it's there but we can't see it, but it's in effect. The law of electricity, again, we know it works and it has an effect but we can't see it. So this law I'd like you to introduce you to is the accumulation of neglect. The law of accumulation, especially around neglect. If we start to neglect the way we think and the self-talk that we can adopt, there could be a consequence. And this accumulates over time. And the challenge is it's so subtle and we don't really see it. So once you understand this law, you can start to ask yourself, what am I neglecting and what is it going to accumulate to? What's going to be the end consequence if I don't start taking action on the things that I neglect? And this could also mean around your health, your well-being, your own personal development. There's this accumulation of neglect that's always in effect. So please start to really challenging yourself and being honest and truthful and ask yourself and face it, so you can fix it. What are the things that I'm neglecting? And is this acceptable? And if I carry on neglecting these things, there's a high possibility there'll be a consequence at the end of it. So there's a little bit of extra there on this video around this law of accumulation of neglect. Please start thinking about, if you neglect your thinking or your self-talk, what could be the end consequences? And are you going to get the results that you really truly desire? So thank you for your time, your energy and your focus, and I'll see you on the next training video. Bye for now.